The purpose of this video is to show you how to complete a new installation work order. In the last video, we actually created a work order for a new installation for a Mr. Robert Nelson, and that work order was number 66. So we're going to go to work orders and we're going to find that work order. So I'm going to go ahead and click on search and edit for the work orders. They should pop up here in a second. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in number 66. And you can see that it has a light pink color. That light pink color basically means that the work order has not been completed and that the status is still open. If I click on that just one time, I can open up the work order. And as you can see, the work order has most of the information that we elected to put in there on the last round. This information, this contact information, came from the new sales contact form, and then we selected some billing information and we put in essentially the billing contact information. That would include first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, phone numbers, and those types of things. In addition, we have identified and selected to actually do an email statement for this customer. And again, all I'm doing right now is verifying that the data that's still in here is in fact consistent with what we did last time. We're going to do the installation on the 23rd, but what we probably should do is change that to the 23rd so that the invoice date, I'm sorry, actually we decided to prorate that. So all invoices going forward would be out on the 20th. The charge date, however, for all of these customers will be on the 1st. We're going to prorate that service from the 1st, or from the installation date, to the 1st of the month, and that will automatically be generated when we complete the work order. We selected a portal username and a portal password, and we identified that this customer is going to be paying with a check and a cash. Under plans, if it has not retained or saved the plan that we selected, we should once again ask the customer which one that they're electing. And so in this case, I've convinced him to go with residential 3. And that's the only thing we need to look at, at least for right now, on this plan. And then under the technician or the technical type, this is going to be a wireless installation. So here's a best practices suggestion for you. When the technician arrives at the location of the installation, he probably should knock on the door and let the prospective customer know that he is getting ready to do the installation. Once he's completed talking with the customer, he can set up his ladders, he can go out and pull the equipment out of his truck that he's going to install, and then at that point what I would suggest is that he actually opens up this application on his iPhone or his tablet or maybe his Droid, and it's going to actually scale it to something that looks like this. It will actually fit on his iPhone or his Droid or his tablet. And I would recommend that he actually complete to the best possible that he can the technical section on this. So this is going to be a wireless installation. Notice that there are several panels. Again, we got the contact panel, the billing panel, the plans panel, the tech panel, and then there's a notes and pictures panel as well. I would recommend that he go down here and he complete the technical portion. So the affiliation is going to be with the company that we'd already identified, the Demco. We're going to choose the site where we anticipate the service is going to be connected to. So which access point, which tower is going to be the receiver of this particular service. In this case, we're going to identify that as Renfro. I'm going to come down here and select the sector. Actually, I don't know if I have any sectors on Renfro. Let's try Rendon. I have several different access points on Rendon. He's going to be coming off of DEO5. It will automatically identify the router IP in connection with the access point DEO5. If this is a Cambian, he can either put in a color code or he can put in the SSID. The SSID will, in many cases, actually auto-fill when the access point is installed correctly. It is not a mandatory field. However, I am going to go ahead and put it in here. Then from his drop-down menu, he can select an IP that has not yet been used. So all of these IPs can be fed off of this particular access point. So I will go ahead and select 10.0.2.10 just to pick the next logical one in line. I can be assured that that has not been assigned to anyone else if it drops down in this CPE IP address. If he has a static IP, if you're going to put a static, public static on this, you can actually go down and find the public statics, and you can just put the very next one. I wouldn't want to use anything with a .1, but a .2 would be fine as well. Subnets, if you want to modify or adjust the subnets, you can do that. And then if you are using PPPoE type authentication for this customer, you can actually put in the PPPoE username and the password as well. Last but not least, I would go down and I would figure out what particular piece of equipment I have on my truck that I'm planning to use in this installation. So in this case, it's going to be a Ubiquiti NanoStation 5, which that's as good as any. I'm actually physically taking that out of the inventory and now reassigning it from that location in the inventory, which probably was either in the warehouse or on his truck, and I am now assigning it to this particular customer. If the CPE is bridged on the roof and the management MAC and IP address belong to a router inside the home, then you can select either an inventory router if you're providing or selling him one, or if he has a customer-owned router, you can also do that as well, and you can identify with the MAC address. When you select that, it will in fact ask you for the MAC address of the device that you're putting in there. And so recall the technician is currently standing on the driveway. He hasn't gone up there to do any work yet. He can actually hit the pre-provision button, which is at the bottom of the technical portion of the work order. And what that will do is it will set the bandwidth limits on that particular service for this particular customer before he actually gets on the roof and does the installation. The advantage of that, of course, is that once he completes the installation on the roof, he could take some pictures with his cell phone. He can come down, and as soon as he plugs that into the PoE and then into the computer, it will actually be operable. That computer will be online, so if he wants to do some baseline analysis, what are the up-down speeds, what are some of the ping measurements off maybe the internet, off the gateway, or wherever he would choose to go, it will actually pre-provision that for him. So once he gets down, now all he has to do is complete the remaining portion, which is under notes and pictures. He can identify, and if he has some pictures, he can upload the pictures to the customer package. And then once he's complete, all he has to do is hit the complete button. It's going to ask you for several different pieces of information. And what it should do is give you a notification that it's currently saving the data on the work order. If it does not, that means that there is something amiss. And until we get all of the alert notifications identified, you may or may not be able to identify where it's at. As you can see, I'm pressing on the complete button and it is not doing anything. There should be some notification that it's saving the data. So I'm just going to briefly go through and make sure that I have filled out all of the form boxes. Oh, well, there it is. I've got a red notification that says I have not selected a country. So I'm going to go ahead and select the United States. And let's just verify there's nothing else in red that should be fixed. Go look at the plans, verify the plans, there's nothing there. Oh, well, I guess it would be a good idea to actually complete the plan section as well, since I'm going to do this. If I want to add additional charges to this work order, then I need to do them at this location. So for example, if I have a basic installation that I want to charge the guy for, I can do that. I can just select it here. There's quantity 1. If I have additional things that I need to charge the customer for the installation, I can do that here. So for example, if I sold him a wireless router, I can put that as well. And if I have one final additional plan or service that I need to charge him for, I can do that as well right here. So for example, I'm going to charge him with an equipment rental. Now I can look at the rest of this. I'm glad that I went back and looked to make sure that I picked everything up. And then under the technical data, let's just make sure there isn't anything highlighted in red that says I've got a problem. I do not see a problem at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and complete the work order. That is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to say that it's saving the data to please wait. It will give me the option at this point to identify that this was a successful installation. And if I had in fact gone through and done some of the baseline information on the installation, then I can register that now. So this might be negative 58. I could ping the internet at 23 milliseconds. I was able to ping the gateway at 2 milliseconds. I was able to do a speed up and a speed down test. I just went to speedtest.net and I ran a speed test, and I found that the uplink speeds were 3.5 megabits per second, and then I found that the downlink speeds were 10.0 megabits per second. And then the installation type on this was, I went through the roof with an attic connection, and I'll just identify rooftop and an attic. And then last but not least, this was a new piece of equipment. And this is the sales contract between the company and the customer. And if he would like to read it or have a copy of it, he can get a copy of it from here. If you want him to sign this contract, you can click the sign button. And what that does is it turns your phone into a registered signature capable device. And so he can just use his finger and he can sign his name. I can almost get that right. There we go. That's good enough. And then he can save that. Once he's completed that, then we're all finished. And once we complete that signature and everything has gone well, then we can click the finish button, and it will take that and say, okay, we're all set, at which point he will receive 2 emails. The first email will be a welcome email, which will say, thank you for signing up. This is your username and your password. This is the location where you can find a customer portal if you want to get a copy of an invoice or a copy of a statement. You can also look here to change your contact information or your user information, as well as if you would like to see how much total transit you've had during the billing period, you can see that at that location as well. The second piece of information that he will receive will be an invoice, and it will show how much money that he currently owes for the installation. So, well, that's about it. Thank you so much.